Thank you for listening to my presentation. My name is Victor Franke. I am CEO at Relius and EKOTEX, and we started EKOTEX for 5 years ago. I started it because I wanted to have more developing from ecological and sustainable products. That's why I started 5 years ago, and now we are yes, on the way, on the good way, I think, with lots of products, paints in this game, and wall coverings. I wanted to show you and share with you, with me, the new products we have and the sustainability and all the advantages the system has. With, for example, system integration, because you need, as a paint, you need surfaces, and together with the surfaces, we can try to be zero waste. Graphenstone is a paint that is for the green generation. It is lime-based paint and it's cradle-to-cradle certified. So it's one of the most ecological and most environmental friendly products, paint products of the world. We are very happy to be invited by the Spin-off Innovation Summit. This we can tell a little bit about our products. My name is Victor Franke, I told you so. And in my presentation, we have a lot of pictures and from buildings that we delivered with our paint. One of the last buildings we delivered was the Essex headquarters in Hoofddorp, that is near Amsterdam, and it was well certified. WELL is certification that looks to the air inside, to the health from the air, and for all the office workers and so on. And that's why there are very high standards, and because we deliver paints with cradle-to-cradle gold certification, they choose for Graphenstone in this case. What is the problem today? What can you see? What can you find? Well, we all know that the air pollution is very bad at this moment, and we want to improve that. The World Health Organization has said to us that 80 of 90% of our time spent in closed spaces, so in-house, in the office, in restaurants, and so on. 80–90% of our time we spend in closed spaces, and that's where the air quality is very bad. So you can imagine that it's better to try on with natural paints and natural products, natural materials, that we can make that the air quality to improve. Also, they know that the Environmental Protection Agency said that 72% of chemical exposure produced in interior spaces. So the chemical exposure is produced in interior spaces. And that's because of many products are not sustainable. Think on vinyl, PVC, and so on, softeners. You can mention them, and acrylic paints with plastic in them, and solvents, formaldehyde, and so on. So the diseases that you can get, yes, are such as pneumonia, bronchitis, asthma, risk of lung cancer, viral diseases. That are all kind of diseases that will be not there when the air is from a high quality. And that's why we want to change that. We want to change that in good air. And what else is the problem today? Well, when you are sitting in your office, your house, your schools, hotel, yes, how can we search, how can we demand for sustainable, processable material solutions? Well, that's not only depends not only of the paint, because the paint has a surface, and that is a system integration. The paint needs the surface, and the surface often needs the paint. So that protection is is necessary, and then you need a product that protected not only the surface but is as sustainable as the surface. So you can recycle or reuse with the product inclusive the paint. That's the idea. Well, what we see in this moment is that there are lots of manufacturers that produce acrylic paints. Acrylic paints has a very high VOC and mostly contains has solvents in it. They are based on latex or crude oil. When I give you the example that for about 10 liters of acrylic paints, you need 3 liters of crude oil. Well, that's amazing, and you can ask yourself, can we go on like this? That's not, no, we can't. That's why we come and we deliver and develop the new paints. That paints has also a low durability because they are not color right. They are not so good for the outside. There are coming mold and so on it, and that's why they are not so good. They are non-breathable. And there are very much additives for a better adhesion at the paint. Then you can imagine that there are toxic materials in it, and well, they are very bad for the environment. Not only toxic adhesives are coming, additives are going in it, but also the preservatives and the titanium dioxides. That the titanium dioxide is now for about 3 months on a list from the EU that it's a suspected raw material, and the suspect is that it can make you become lung cancer. So that are not good salts for a paint. What's the problem today? I said it already. The waste. The waste is a much bigger problem than the energy transition. What we now nowadays have. Energy is also a problem. We have to make our houses better insulated and so that they have less carbon less carbon, and that's why we have to search to other solutions. When I tell you that 10,000 of kilos paint is burned in the Netherlands, well, that's amazing. And in Great Britain, it's even 50,000 kilos. 15 million kilos in Great Britain, and for Holland it was 10 million kilos. The linear products are not recyclable. They are coming with the waste, and then they are burned. And that's the only thing they deliver that is a little bit of warmth and energy, but that's all. Waste is too on the surfaces. When you have, for example, MDF or gypsum board, you can imagine that those materials and then painted with the wrong paint, that they also become waste and they will be burned. When we use surfaces where they are also sustainable, like EKOR, that is a cellulose material, also one of the speakers today, or not today, but in this event. For example, Tribu from Everuse. they use also cradle-to-cradle materials, and there are eco boards. There are lots of more boards and panels and possibilities to go on with a good service, sustainable service, with sustainable paint that is ecological, and then at the end of life you don't have to say, okay, that is waste, it will be burned. No, you can recycle it, or you can redesign it, or you can reuse it. And that's the most and the better part of the corporation we have, with lots of firms that deliver services and walls and so on. We have for 2 years we introduced the first circular wall in the world, and that was also a cooperation between 4 firms that all deliver cradle to cradle, and in this case it was paper-based materials, and we delivered the supply for the paint. Although health is a big issue at this moment, what you see is the materials they make in the chemistry industry, in the paint industry. There are lots of hazards. So like titanium dioxide, I already said that, and coltive, PVC, where you can get cancer from it. It takes care of polluted air. The toxins are very bad for the environment, and all the chemicals are very bad, and they will be make it better, worse. On the other hand, they need a lot of fossil, in this case fuel, so as oil, crude oil, and lots of more products that are well, that we don't have enough on the earth, so that will be running out of that products. And we have to try together to make the world circular. And how do you make it circular? To invite, to develop products and systems, integrated systems, building systems. So to create positive creation of a positive building, you need to explore and to invite system integrates, well, that you have the surfaces and you have the paint on it, so you can reuse it and don't have to burn it afterwards. Now we come to our solution. Well, the solution is very simple. Apply circular and healthy products. Well, so simple it can be, but not so simple is it? Because where do you find circular and healthy products? At this moment, when I look to the own paint industry, there are very less products available that are circular and that are healthy products. The paint industry is not willing to develop, to redesign, to make new products. They are a little bit old-fashioned, traditional, and they are looking how it will go in the future. Well, I made my mission. I have a mission, and the mission is to show and share our experiences, and show and share our products with the paint industry, so that they can produce and manufacture also the circular and healthy products. I hope that one day the whole chemistry, the whole paint industry only make and produce circular and healthy products. That is what I want at most. Our philosophy is we have to create healthy spaces, because that will make the people more happy. The people not, but also the planet. The people make it more happy because in offices, the workers, the employees will change. They will be more happy, more doing their jobs better, creating a better space. They are more relaxed. And what very important is for developers and for the people that have companies, that is that your people, your employees, do more work, are less ill, and that make it that there is more, well, more coming out of your employee. They are making more of it, and they are happier. So what is the best? Well, that is to create healthy spaces. There was a research from the University of Twente together with CBRE, and there was the result was that people are 2 to 6% less ill when you create healthy spaces. And that can be with the green environments, but it can also go to paints that are ecological, but use building materials that are ecological and sustainable, and don't have any formaldehydes or additives or other toxic raw materials in it. Our formula, that is one of the biggest secrets we have, because we use natural paint. We use lime paints. Lime paints that are very, very old. In the old days, it was known as a very good paint, but I have to say, for projects, it's a little bit weak. It was not washable, and so on and so on. But lime has very, very big advantages. One of the advantages are that it's a very pure material, that it is breathing, and limestone is getting CO2 from the air. That are big advantages. But because it's not washable, it is not possible to dry it and to use it in projects. Now we have made it possible with a new material, a new mineral material, graphene, to combine those two, lime and graphene, and then you get paint that is strong, that is ecological, that is mineral, that makes it that is very, very good washable, that is flexible, and also conductive. So the paint has a lot, and really a lot of advantages, and that make it a very, very good paint to use it in projects, big projects. At the end of my presentation, I show you for projects we did with the material. And the nicest thing on it is that it's sustainable. It's the most sustainable product that there is, and it has a very, very low environmental impact. So that is the combine that the two products can bring together, and that is fine to hear, fine that it's there, and you can use it. It is everywhere, you can buy it. So we developed any more products in this range to can protect every surface in the nearest future. We know. Graphene is a product that is invented in 2004 by two scientists at the University of Manchester. And in Manchester, they had graphite, and they made one mesh structure of molecule level of it. And they got the Nobel Prize for it in 2010, I think. And then because the graphene is a very, very good, strong product. Why do we use graphene in the paint? Well, because it's flexible, up to 20% more flexibility without damage. And that's very rare for a mineral product. Then you have a lot of thermal conductivity, scientifically proven a high thermal conductivity. So you need less energy to warm your house. Then it's very strong in combination with the lime, 200 times stronger than structural steel. So that is very, very strong. And it's conductive, 1,000 more conductive than copper for the electricity conductivity. Graphene is like you can see it on the picture on the presentation. It is a one layer structure, a mesh structure of a molecule level, and it functions like if it is a strongness to fiber, a glass fiber, or it is then a graphene fiber. What will make it like as strong as we say so. And it brings us to the perfect mix. The perfect mix of lime on the one side and the graphene properties on the other side. What brings us the lime properties? Well, lime has 98% whiteness. That's the reason that we don't need in our lime paints the titanium dioxide. We don't need it, and that's good because titanium dioxide, I told you, is a suspected raw material that is on a list of the EU, and in the EU they expect it to can that you can got lung cancer of it. It is highly breathable, so there is no condensation inside. It absorbs CO2. It absorbs very, very much CO2. When it's drying, it takes the CO2 out of the air, and then it makes a reaction to calcium carbonate, and then it's again lime. So you have lime on you take it from the earth, you make paint of it, then the painter will make applies it, and when it's drying, then it will become lime again. And that is the cycle that is closed at that moment, and that is the biological cycle of, for example, the cradle to cradle. Per bucket, 15 liters, there is 4.8 kilos of absorbing CO2. So when you can say 3 buckets are taking as much as one adult tree per year on the CO2 absorption. And that is a lot, I can tell you. The temperature regulation, that is very, very, very good by lime. Well, it's getting to energy savings. It is antibacterial because it has a high pH word, and it's anti-mold and antifungal. And without adhesives or to make it antibacterial. So there are no fungicides in it. The pH is making that it is antibacterial. Then it's also insect repellent. That are the advantages and the properties of the lime. The graphene properties are high adhesion, so you have strong adhesion on each surface. Anti-condensation, that is in combination with the breathability. It is washable. It is very, very strong. It is washable class 1 to the DIN AN, that is European standards 13300. It's class 1. And that's formidable for a mineral paint, because they normally are not so good washable. But in this case, it is really, really very good to clean and to wash. So good washable. The paint is flexible, not cracking, because I told you so. It's 20% more flexible than a normal paint. It's water repellent, no capillarity, and it's very strong, and the durability is high. That are the advantages, the properties of the paint, the perfect mix, as we call it. Are there paints that even come in close? No, there aren't. It is an incomparable paint. Graphenstone is really the only paint in the world that has these advantages and is 100% ecological paint. Once another paint industry asked me, 100% ecological, that isn't possible. How? Because you need also, like we, titanium dioxide. So it is not ecological. I said, why? Why do we need titanium dioxide? Well, he said each paint needs it, and well, we don't need it because we are on base of lime, and the lime is very white, and it's 100% natural. That is also why we get the cradle-to-cradle gold, because the cradle-to-cradle gold says that there are no harmful substances in the paint, and that is the gold well, cradle-to-cradle gold that says that, and they you don't get so fast a gold label. It has to be really without harmful substances and raw materials. It is healthy. There are no VOCs in it. There are no formaldehyde emissions. There are no emissions. It doesn't contain toxic chemical compounds. Not only there are no titanium dioxide, but there are no preservatives also. That's also really important. Lots of people are allergic for that. And when you look to the CO2, you see that it saves 8.5 kilos per square meter. Well, wow, you say. I thought it was a CO2 absorption from only 5 kilo, for example, approximately 5 kilo per bucket. So that's not 8.5 kilo per square meter. No, I said saves. When you compare it to the normal paint with oil, crude oil, 3 liters, emissions, and so on, life cycle, end of life, burning, and then you look to the paint of ours, then you have an environmental product declaration because we've measured it, and then you see that it saves a lot of CO2 per square meter. And when you have a normal apartment or a normal house, and maybe you have to paint 100, 150 square meter, well, that's not so much, and from your interior walls, and then you use, or the ceilings, then you need obviously more. When you do it, then you can save for yourself more as a ton CO2, because 120 square meter you need for saving a ton CO2. So that is very quick that you save CO2 like that. And that's very nice. I think it's unique, and that makes it a unique product for the world. My home is a tree. That is a campaign that we do. We have a website of it. And why do we do it? Because we want to take the people and the painters that use it together, bring them together to see what's the advantage. And each bucket that is used, well, will save, will get absorbed 4.8 kilos of CO2. And well, we count it, and then you see on the website there is an actuality list how many CO2 we saved and we absorbed the last month, last year, last 2 years, and so on. And when I see that one elder tree captures 250 kilos, around 2 or 20 kilos CO2 per year, then 3 buckets will be as much as how much an adult tree captures, absorbs for about 1 year. Well, that's lots of CO2, I think. Don't you think too? My home is a tree. We told you that. You can look at the website. It's a nice website to look at. It's a campaign website. You can't see it, but when you use your paint, please go there and fill in. I used 3 buckets of paint, and then it will count even through. My home is a tree. Well, that is also possible that you say it about the paint of us, because the paint, Graphenstone paint, clarifies and purifies the air. It cleans the air like a tree. So that is also comparable to my home is a tree, because our paints clear the air, is also purifying the air, and it cleans the air. So well, that's the best way to make it like a tree. There's not only the CO2 absorption, but also clean air, purifying air is the function of a tree and of the paint we sell and we develop. Paints for the green generation. That's one. You have the most green paints. You have the most ecological paints. You have the most sustainable paints. There are lots of paint brands that call their own paints the best, the most green, the most ecological, the most sustainable. But how can we control that? How can we check that? Is there something how we can check that? Well, Cradle to Cradle says there are no harmful substances in it, no toxic raw materials, no toxic additives. But okay, it is possible that in other paints that is also not the case. I want to know, is it measurable? Yes, of course it's measurable. We do that with every product we sell, we develop. We want to know how far are we. Can we improve the product in the next years? And when we do, can we measure that? Because when you want to improve, you have to measure the improvements. Well, that's very simple. It is a little bit expensive, but you have the environmental product declarations. And all products of us, also the Graphenstone paints, but also EKOTEX wall coverings, are all having an EPD. And in that EPD, you can read every environmental impacts that are there. There in the newest EPD in Holland, there are 11 environmental impacts there. The 7 from the European in the European countries, and in Holland we have 4 extra. And when you have that milieu, that environmental impacts factors, you can compare them with other products, other paints, and you can say, well, this is the most ecological, or that's the most ecological. But that is not why we measure it. That is not why we have an EPD. The reason that we have that, and that is very, very important, is to improve our products so that you can make an ecological, an eco chain, and that you have steps each year to make them better, to improve them. And that's why we have an EPD for all our products. But that is not that we say, or that we say out loud from, oh yes, we are the green, we are the green generation, we are the best. No, no, no. We want to measure it. And everyone that compares it can look for themselves that it is a very ecological paint. And we don't want to be the best paint of the world. We don't want to be the best paint of the Netherlands. We want to have an ecological paint that is sustainable, that is nice for the earth, that protects the earth, and that will be zero wasted. That is a circular paint. That is our goal, and that is our mission. And not to be the best. No, we have a mission to spare, to save the earth. What's the key distinction? Well, we have a Cradle to Cradle certified. Why did we do that? Because we wanted, like the EPDs, we wanted to know, where are we? Where are we standing? How far are we? Well, Cradle to Cradle looks to 5 serious norms. And they look at first to the material health. Material health, is it really healthy, the product? Are there no harmful substances in it? And how is it made it? How is it produced? Are there solvents in it, titanium dioxides, the preservatives, and so on and so on, additives and chemistry adhesives and so on? Well, there are not. So it is a material health of gold. And gold is high, I can tell you. We also have material health silver. That is when the paint is made in color. When you need a color, you have to color it on a color machine, a tinting machine, and then they are using pasts, color pasts, and organic color past, but they are not as sustainable as the paint. And then we go back from gold to silver. Then we have the second point of the cradle to cradle, and the second key, that is reutilization. Well, we have with the gold label, you need a higher material reutilization than 65%, and that's very high. Can you imagine? That is very, very high, and we have that standard. The renewable energy, well, you need green energy. There is also a standard for how many percent of the whole energy savings are are renewable, and well, okay, that is also a goal. Water stewardship, that's a specialist. Water is needed, and clean water is needed. And the nicest thing of the producing of the lime paints from Graphenstone is that the paint will be even cleaner afterwards than forwards the production. So that is why we get platinum by the water stewardship. Social fairness, okay, that is what we call in the Netherlands maatschappelijk verantwoord ondernemen. And the social fairness is very important, and we do that as well, because we think that not only we have to activate the producers, but we also have to activate the people, and we don't want to have waste with products, but we don't want to have waste from people either. So that are in the combination is the really important thing of doing this. No waste of materials, but also no waste of people and the planet. That are the most important things. With Graphenstone, there are more. You can fill in more opportunities. The properties and advantages are more. You can save money. Why? Why can you save money? Because you add value. You add value to the building. You add value to the inner, to the circular wall, to the interior wall, because this isn't waste anymore. When it's painted with the Graphenstone, then it will add value, and because it adds value, you don't have to take it as waste at the end of life. You can recycle it, you can reuse it or redesign it. And when I say recycle, I mean not downcycle, I mean upcycle. And that's also very, very important to know that it's the right thing. For the painter himself, it is very interesting because it's odorless. You can have a building in use, or a hospital, or everyone, or a restaurant, a school. It's no problem because you don't smell Graphenstone. It is odorless. The wear resistance is very high. It's fast drying, so the painter can do 2 layers on one day. When he has 2 days and he is going out of a room, and he don't have to come back. Well, that saves money, but it's also makes you happy that you don't have a painter more days in house. And then it's fire resistance. It's A1, that's the biggest or the highest level of fire resistance. So it's on, not burnable. Not burnable even, no. And that's why it protects also the surfaces in the buildings, and it's very important because the international companies and the big companies, think to hotels, but airports and so on, they all want that there are the hallways where you walk, where the people walk, where they have the entries, it has to be fire resistant. You can make it in each color. That's also very nice because mineral paints are not as as simple as that. Often they are makeable in or tintable in the soft colors, but Graphenstone not. It is for every color you can choose. We have our own color charge, and that is 980 colors for the inside and 322 for the outside. And it is like NCS colors, and you can use them. But ask me a color of sequins, ask me a color of painting the past, ask me a color of Farrow and Ball, sigma. It doesn't even care, because we can measure all the colors, and the colors are all makeable and tintable in the paint. So that's no problem either. Easy to apply on all surfaces. Yes, that's right, because the user, the painter in this time, also has no emission of harmful substances or harmful VOCs. So for him, it's also for the better. And one of the nicest things I've had was that the painter, and he was, for the first time, he was painting with Graphenstone, and well, it looked very good, and he was very happy. But we let one bucket with the customer, not the painter, but the customer. And the customer in this case was Sweco. That is a very big technical bureau in Holland, but they are everywhere. And they called me after 2-3 weeks. They said, yeah, we have here little thing with little wall we have to paint as extra with your Graphenstone, but we can find the bucket. Do you have taken the bucket with you back? No, I said, I don't. And then I realized that the painter called me for a week ago. And he asked the paint, can I use it also in the bedroom? And is there also absorbing CO2 and no emissions of all kinds of harmful things? I said, yes, that's right. And then he was happy, and he didn't told me further anything. I called him again, and I've asked him, have you taken the bucket with you? Yes, he said, I took the bucket with me, and I painted my bedroom with it. And now I'm very happy and satisfied, because my wife is very happy, because she was allergic to paint, and now we have a new wall, and she is doing very good. So that is nice to tell. Not really good from the painter, but I'm very glad that we could help him. Easy apply on all surfaces. That's because there is graphene in it, and the graphene is taking care of the adhesive, and that's why it's is to apply on all surfaces. The low maintenance costs. It is highly cleanable. It's highly washable. There is no. It's breathable, thus there is no condensation. Because it's antibacterial, it's also antivirus. It is inactivating. Really, we have checked it. Inactivating the COVID virus, not the 19, but the COVID in virus family is inactivated by the Graphenstone paint, and it's easy to clean. So that's why you can save money. Save money, 2 layers a day. Fire resistant, odorless, so when it's used, the hotel and so on, but also in hospitals, well, you have to hire a room, and you don't want to be the room occupied because there is someone painting. You want to give it free as soon as possible. Well, one day, painter in it, 2 layers a day, next day you can hire the room. So that is what it makes very, very interesting. And further on, it adds value, what I said, to the material, to the surface, and to the walls, because they don't have to put on the burn at the end of life. It isn't will be waste. It's not necessary to burn it. You can use it again, and it's that's new materials. There are different product ranges for outside paints, for inside paints. The biosphere, for example, you can see it here on the front. The ecosphere, the biosphere is for outside. The ecosphere is for inside. Both are gold labeled with cradle to cradle. Biosphere is very white. It's a lime component. It clarifies the air, purifies the air, and it is very long. It has a long durability. In Holland, there is lots of green filth, valve on it. It is well, you have to clean it, There is algae on it, and mold on the outside, and that makes the walls green in about 2 or 3 years. But because it has a very high pH, where it is not coming green, because the algae, yes, I think it's called algae, are not happy with high basic surface, so they don't grow on that surface. Then we have here the Ambient Pro. The Ambient Pro is also a paint that is odorless, but it clarifies all odors in the house. So from your dog, from the cooking, from etc., etc. And it is a photocatalytic paint that puts on the odors into a nice neutral odorless combination, and it reacts on it, and the reaction is going from that the odor will be neutralized, and that is what makes Ambient Pro very very exceptional. You can use it outside too, in viaducts, in parkings, and so on, where there are going lots of cars with smoke and the fuel emissions, and the CO2 emissions, and you can clarify the air as well there. So that's a very good product in these surroundings. The Ecosphere you can use for the inside. It is, as we told you, also a product that clarifies the air. You can put 2 layers on one day. No condensation. It's breathable, good to clean, and so on. It's 100% ecological. Then here we have another product that protects against shielding. Now with the 5G generation, the Internet of Things, and what else, Wi-Fi, name it, you have almost 80, I think, in this moment, shielding and waves in the house, and we expect it to be more and more for the next years. Well, you can protect yourself against that. We call it in Holland electrostress. And there are lots of people, I think in Holland there are 250,000 people that are having electrostress, and they are getting disease from that. They are not feeling happy, not feeling well, headaches, and so on and so on. And that is because of the electrostress. And the people will be more. That will be more and more, because 5G will take care of more shielding and more waves, because the distances between the different masts will be smaller than now, and the 5G will be intensive. The waves will more intensive than the waves we have now, and that will be I'm sure take care of more people with electrostress, and then we can help with the Pro Shield. I will come to a few projects we made with Graphenstone and EKOTEX. In hotels, you need key points. Key points make an entrance when you come into the entrance. Sheraton in Stockholm, for example. Well, the first impression matters. It has to be good, and it has to be high exclusive. It is a statement what you make, and it has to be clean and maintenance friendly. That's for a hotel very, very important. Well, we delivered there our paints, and that was one of the key points why they chose for Graphenstone. Then we have green key points, themes of green, and that is why Conscious Amsterdam, and it's also a hotel, chosen for the Graphenstone. It's a sustainable green theme, purifying the air. They are using eye-catching colors and vertical gardens, and they use also the paints of Graphenstone. theater key points. Why theater key points? Well, while a theater has to be also something like that, where you want to, where you happily come, and where you happily enter in a theater, because you want to have a nice evening. So that's very, very important to have a focal point, to focus on the points of the different buildings. And theater key points, we share them with you: surprise and delight, unlimited creativity with colors. And in Rotterdam, there is a new building that calls Kunstenpand, that is art house, art pand, art building Rotterdam. And well, it's called Kunstenpand. And there are used lots of colors, and it's a really, really nice building that we made there. We delivered, and it was applied by a Dutch painter. Then we have the house key points, because in-house you want to have the personal touch, the personal colors. It has to be clean air, and you you need to be a little bit cozy. That's nice, a little bit of warmth in it, and that is also reachable with the paints of Graphenstone. Monumental is also a really, really fine market for the mineral paints, in the outside, but also for the inside. The older buildings have made painted often with mineral paints, with lime paints, and so on. And that's why it's very easy to maintain, to get further on it with the system of the paints of Graphenstone in this time. Okay, monumental, wow factor. It is often monumental. You can't break it off, or you can't make it make a new building. It is well designed and often attention to details. You can see it on this office building, and you want to this office wanted to have whose luxury that when you enter the hall, it is really wow. So that was the biggest focus, and the thing we had to bring there. Then we have one of our well, biggest industries in Holland, that is the Schiphol airport. Schiphol said to us we wanted to be circular in 2030, and they want to do a lot about that. They are going faster than the government. The government says in the Netherlands we have to be circular in 2050, but Schiphol Airport has said we want, and we make our goal mission circular in 2030. Well, how do you do that? Well, you have to use, in this case, healthy material like cradle-to-cradle material. You has to get zero waste with your buildings that you build, and they want to be circular in 2030. So in every report and so on, there are the goals called, and they want to bring them into the building in the environment of Schiphol, so that they can be circular in 2030. And we are on the list of tolerated products that they want to use, because our paint is cradle to cradle. How can we prove our quality? Well, that's very hard. We have a few international references that we delivered the last couple of years, and I want to name them to say what's there. For example, Shell. He has also a monumental headquarters. Heineken. We did a pilot. They wanted to all the merchandise has to be green painted, and the green paint has to be recycled, because it was merchandise on Ecor, and the Ecor is a cellulose paper-based material that is pressed to each other, and there are little panels, and they made the merchandise for it, and we painted it green, or we supplied the paint, and so they had to had to reuse it when they got it back. And after the campaign, after 3 months, they got all the merchandise back, and they put it on, they recycled it, they reused it as Ecor in this case. The only thing you had in first, it was a natural color, and after you reused, it was a little bit of green color. Well, that's all what happened, and that's all. The McDonald's organization, Essex, you have seen the picture, Hilton Hotel, Danone, and CBRE. CBRE is a very big building developer, and they want to have healthy offices and healthy buildings, healthy houses. They are very say it, eager to got the sustainability in their projects. Then we have a little bit of additional sustainable products. For example, the paper-based wall covering. Paper-based wall coverings for the interiors. It is made of recycled paper, for 100% recycled paper, and a little bit of 100% recycled cotton textile. And why do we need textile? Because papers has fibers that by each recycle circle, the fibers will get shorter, and that's why you need a textile in it as additive to keep that good compared with each other, so that it will be possible to make a real good strong wall covering. We have a photo print on the EKOTEX photo print, and it's PVC free. Normally it's vinyl and there is PVC in it, and there are softeners in it, and softeners are phthalaten, maybe you know that, and that are very bad for the environment and very bad for the people. The emissions are very bad, so we don't want that, and that's why we deliver photo prints on a PVC free material, and it's on an environmental friendly base. Then we have also the lacquers varnishes, yes, because when you, as we do, deliver the paints for the walls, for the ceilings, and so on, and outside the facades, you need also paint for the wood. We have wood paints that are also cradle to cradle certified, and we deliver them with the other paints, and they are available in all colors and or colorless. So brand. This is the last slide. I want to thank you. One of the last slides. I want to thank you for your attention. I hope that you well, that it was nice and that you learned a little bit. When there are questions, I don't know if you can put that to me. I don't know how the organization do that with pre-recorded in this time talks for the speaker, but I'm very happy to be here now, and that I have the possibility to speak on a very important platform like SpinUp, the Innovation Summit today, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.